This here is LeetCode 387, first unique character in a string. Given a string S, we have to find the first non-repeating character in it, and we have to return the index of that character. If it does not exist, meaning that there is no non-repeating character, that is, all the characters in the strings are repeated, so they can be duplicates. In this case, we have to return -1. Here is an example, LeetCode. We see that L, T, C, O, and D are not repeated, but the first one among them is L. So we have to return index 0 for this character. In here, we have love LeetCode. So the character L is duplicated here and there. The character O is also duplicated, but V is not duplicated in the list. E is duplicated. T and C here, I believe they are unique. Same thing with D. But the first character here that is not repeated is the character V. So we return the index of that character, which is 0, 1, 2, index number 2. And we return 2 here. Then for this example, there are two different characters, A and B. Both of them are duplicated, so we don't need to return anything for the index, and therefore the default value here is -1. So this is my solution. In C++, we get the string S as a parameter, and here I create an array of size 256 to count the occurrences of every character inside of this string S. Now I'm using the fixed value 256 as a constant because I'm dealing with characters, and characters are 1 byte, that is 8 bits. And the maximum decimal number that you can represent when you have 8 bits, it goes from 0 all the way to 255. So you have 256 options. And if you're confused about that, I recommend that you have a look at the ASCII table. Every character that you can represent using the char data type has a decimal representation from 0 all the way to 255 right here. So if you look at a number like capital A, for example, the decimal representation is 65. If you have lowercase h, then the decimal representation, the value here is 104. So what I intend to use this array for is to count the occurrences of every character inside of my string S. So at first I need to initialize all the values to 0, otherwise I might have some garbage values and it's going to compromise the execution of my function here. So to initialize everything to 0, I can do it like what you see here on line 4. Then I loop through my string S character by character. And at every iteration, I access the decimal value of that character from the ASCII table here. And I access that index and I increment the count by 1. So let's say that at the first iteration, we are at capital C. Capital C is this one here, meaning at index 67, I'm going to increment the value there by 1. Then if the next character is something like lowercase t, which is this one here, I'm going to access index 116 and increment the value there by 1. So by the time we are done with this for loop, the values there are going to represent the counts of every character inside of the string S, and the count is stored by index. So once we have this array populated with the proper values, we can have a second loop here where I'm going to run through every character again from my string S here. I'm going to access its index inside of my counter array, and I'm going to check if the value there is a 1. If it is, then I'm going to return the value of I because that is the index of that character. Notice here that the counter array is in order, meaning that the index of capital A is 65, capital B is 66, and so on. They are in order. But when I'm looping, I'm not looping from I all the way to 256, position by position inside of my counter array. Instead, I'm looping through character by character from my string S here. I'm accessing that index for the character inside of my string S. I'm accessing the index and checking the value there. So the order here that we are following inside of this for loop is the order of appearance for the characters inside of my string S. And that's why this works. So if the for loop terminated without returning anything, It means that we did not find any value 1 inside of my counter array, and therefore I can return -1 because we did not find the first non-repeating character inside of the string s. So let me run this code now. We've passed the sample test case, and when I submit it, I think we should pass everything. So we just did with pretty good speed. If we check the details here, we had 105 test cases and we did well. So that's it for my solution. LeetCode 387. The name of this LeetCode problem was first unique character in a string. If you like my solutions in C++ and you want more coding interview questions to practice, and you also want more LeetCode solutions, please subscribe to my channel and I'll catch you next time.